Remix. 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 Remix.
Oh, yeah. Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and we are here to bring you that boom bap breakfast. Yes. I hope y'all had a great weekend. I hope y'all got y'all knife, y'all spoon, y'all fork, y'all plate, and your napkin. Because it's time for that boom bap breakfast. But yes, guess what? Hosts are not here yet. You know, I couldn't help it. I had to start. It's hard to not start on time for me, so let's do it like this.
Been hustling, trying to make him turn. Ain't no telling what he'll do for the paper. Ain't no telling. Been hustling, trying to make him turn. Ain't no telling what he'll do for the paper. Ain't no telling. Souffle, I'm straight. I stay my plate. Shot day, I'm a smooth operator. I drop top of my wheel. That pawn driving make you feel some type of way. I know you.
R.I.P.
That custom brightly make you feel
Rich
some
homie
type
Quan.
of way. I'm shining. Deep down, we got me feeling some type of way. Is it cause my homies rich, you feel some type of way?
Up on the floor and start work the thing for the total quad. Oh girl, that's what we like to dance trick, cause we always like it. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Make you rough and you cool struck.
Yo, we started the morning off a little bit of Southern type way. Let me take you to a BK way. With no other than Mal K. Franklin.
What's going on?
Hey, you know what it is, man. It's Monday. Oh, for us.
No, for us, it's Monday. Yeah. People cruising, taking their time.
Yeah. You know what? You know, Kim's walking the dogs again. You know.
Oh, God. Okay. I found this video. I wish I had it on me now of when Kim interviewed me when she was at the Real News. I was just scrolling, and then I was like, Kim Brown, and then I was
What?
like, oh shit, it's Kim. And she was all done up. I had to send her the video. I was like, there's at least two where she interviewed me.
Oh, why didn't you send me this video so I could play it?
You know what? That's my bad. I gotta find it. I'm gonna find it on a break and send it to you because she's
yeah.
all done up.
Well,
I think
if you find it on the break, you don't gotta send it. You can just play it, right?
What that's what I meant, B. That's what I meant. I meant to bring it up. I sent it to her because I was like, yo, look. I was like, you was all done up. Then I was like, I didn't remember it at all, of course, because I was like, you know. But then I was like, oh, I do remember because like I thought you was fine.
He said was. He said, you better not let her hear that talking about was.
You know, I haven't seen her like that put together for me.
Oh snap! She had the makeup. She was Maybelline queen.
Yo, son. It was like, damn. It was all together. I was like, whoa. I think she even had a site back then.
Really? She was big time.
Yeah, no, I mean, she could see. She looked like she could see back then.
Oh, damn! Wow, man. You just going in right now.
You didn't think that one was funny?
I mean,
come on.
I ran her into a wall, so you know.
Yo, that's true. You can't.
A glass door, actually.
Yeah,
which is even worse.
Yeah,
like,
that was worse. Yeah.
Like ain't nobody can see a glass door.
As they say, the blind leading the blind.
That's perfect. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Yo, man, how was your weekend?
It was cool. You know, with the kids, did a little bit. Like we had our survival program this weekend. We are now, we've 40 bags of groceries. We are going to be extending. We're talking to folks in the neighborhood, trying to make this a big event. So, yeah. So it was really cool
Okay.
for that to happen. You know, other than that, relatively. Oh, no.
Wait a minute. So y'all set up and gave out groceries to people in the community.
Yes. What we
Okay,
call our
yeah.
survival program. 40 bags. So that was the most we've given. It was 40 bags. So that was cool. And then what was the other? Oh, officially, you know, drum roll.
Oh.
CNB now has a chapter in Newark, New Jersey.
What?
It has the Divine Nine, our 9th chapter. Can you do a little burn?
I was wondering why
Where the
this
noises, son?
I'm getting to it.
Where
I
the
don't know why
noises?
this is fronting on me right now.
Where the noises? Oh,
All right,
Jesus
so you
Christ.
were saying again, you did what?
Oh, we have your timing. It's all about the timing. It's all about the time. I thought you was good at this. It's all about the timing.
I'm a little off. Let me get some more of this coffee in me. But continue.
Yeah. So we have our 9th chapter in Newark, New Jersey. The Divine Nine. There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
So we were pleased. You know, we just had a little uptick in membership, folks who joined a little while ago. So that is not a Ras. That's going to be the chapter that's going to be opposed to Ras Baraka. Somebody said something.
You got
in the
beef
chat.
with Ras Baraka now? What's going on here, man?
I've known Ras for, you know, because we're all old now, and we still think we're young, like over 30 years probably. So when he came back from Howard, the organization he started, Black NIA, NIA, NIA Force, he brought back and did a chapter in New Jersey and New York. I joined the Harlem chapter. That might have been like my second or third, at least my third organization at that stage, in terms of searching for like Black radical organizations. And it was good for a while. You know, everybody was hyped up and trying to be militant, of course. We did programs out in Harlem, youth programs, all that kind of stuff. Fish fries to raise money. Raz would give speeches like he was Fidel Castro. And at that age, you know, it was kind of like, me and my man, we were like, wow, this dude can talk. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, man.
You know.
Needed me to hit that horn for him.
Yeah, I was like, come on. I was like, oof. I was like, I'm too young for this. Okay. And then, you know, I'm not going to reveal. Something happened. The chapters were disbanded. He went on his merry way to later become the mayor of Jersey. And he still has some politics, but, you know, it's obvious that he's about to run for governor. So it's obviously that he's become far more liberal as he's gotten older. And, you know, there are some people who support him still, who come from a radical community, but most folks are like,
could he
my
be the
man.
spook? Could he be the spook that sat behind the door, getting in there and then be like, gotcha? No.
But when does the gotcha happen? That's the thing. You know, he's been mayor 3 times now, and there's been no gotcha. Yeah,
I mean,
no gotcha yet.
That's the funny thing about it. Like, what mayor actually gets in there and becomes radical? I mean, it's a job.
None.
So why do we expect it?
Well, it's not. I mean, even if you don't expect it, you still got to call it out. My man just mentioned in the chat about the ICE detention center he's about to open. I appreciate somebody mentioning that. So it is not so much as expected, but the hope is, again, that folks will, if they had politics, you're always trying to push people, and that becomes the larger discourse, right? Whether or not the political system as is can be used by Black radicals for our purpose and fulfillment. And I think the answer is
it's 2025. Can it?
I agree. But yet it's still an open question because people are so tied to the system as thinking that somehow that's how you achieve political rights, that it's hard to go elsewhere when that's, when that's a place there of struggle. But I agree, a lot of, the handwriting has been on the wall for a while. But at our National Black Radical Conference, we're going to be talking about that. We have a special plenary right on that topic around the use of the electoral process being left to the Democrats. Is there a place for radical Black strategy within U.S. electoral politics in terms of elections?
Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
You could, because you're going to destroy the whole panel and just give an answer, and that's going to be it.
Okay, never mind.
Go for it. No, go for it. Go for it.
No. I mean,
Some may
that's,
differ. Some may differ.
that's
I'm
like-
more on the no side also, but I still see things that you can try to get. And I think, but I'm straight elections at this stage have not, obviously, for like that last 50 years have not proven themselves to be anything close to a liberatory process in terms of folks go in, and by the time they're done, we have more either institutional support, more organizations we created, more resources that we've gotten via that process. I don't know any radical struggle that's sort of walked out at the end of supporting some candidate that has said that they've gotten more. The closest and or only potential exception that I know in the last 30 or 40 years is Charles Barron in terms of some work that he's done. And Charles Barron will be at the conference as a plenary speaker on that panel to talk through why he thinks there's still a road there. And again, there will be others who will probably talk about other strategies that may involve some electoral stuff. But that's just one major plenary. There's going to be several others. Most others do not even broach that topic. It's more about what we have to do to organize in our community. What are the current conditions that we're facing, and what is there to be done? Right? Take a little let in. Take a little let in.
It's nice. I almost feel like calling Kim, but
Where is she? But you have talked to her, and she says she's
I've
on her
talked
way.
to her yesterday,
and she's on her way.
I see you in the morning. That's what I heard.
I think the morning starts at 9 now for her. 9.
Well, since you asked, I got to DJ a birthday party this weekend, and it was pretty it was pretty nice. Sister out in Cascade, my old neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Big, beautiful house, and it was getting busy in there, man. It was a good.
You said it was a wedding?
No, it was a birthday party.
Birthday party. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wasn't
and
listening to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you would. But and then the dope thing is, you get the sometimes you play what the birthday girl wants, and sometimes they want alternative music. So I got to mix some alternative pop music into some hood black people music.
Okay.
And it was very fun. I like
You
I like
had
doing
fun. You ever get to step like you put a song or you step away and you get to do whatever? You got to just be there, right?
If I played a wobble, which is like a 4 3-minute song,
is that like your bathroom break kind
that's
of
the
thing?
bathroom break song right there.
And has that ever happened as a DJ? Like a DJ, you're like, yo, you doing your thing, but you gotta go to the bathroom, so you play a song so you can dash off and come back.
Yes, that's the song.
Okay.
That's the song. But
That's
the
the
thing
song.
is, the thing is, sometimes on that song you gotta say something to the crowd and get them to do something. But then these line dance songs, those are the ones like Flex, and now they got this Boots on the Ground song. So they got a whole bunch. It's just funny. They still had a meme said the world is going to shit while black people are learning new line dance.
Well, folks like to entertain themselves.
It's true. We gonna
Love
have a good
entertaining
time,
themselves.
damn it. We gonna have a good time.
Well, I
And-
also
What up?
go ahead.
Go
No,
ahead.
finish.
And I got a surprise for y'all at on our break. Well, go ahead.
A good surprise?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm just making sure. I don't like no bad surprises. I was going to also say, I've been watching pretty closely now. I don't think I've been doing them in order, but Jared's series on Malcolm X, his like the 100-year anniversary series. He's been doing them, on Monday mornings at 8:00. They've been fantastic. So I just want to big up Jay for that.
B.
Yeah, it's been fantastic work.
I like his commitment. I mean, he stays on. I seen him out doing lecturing and stuff like that too. I mean, to be a professor constantly in front of people, then having a book, doing these seminars, and then this right here, Black Liberation Media, you really got to be dedicated to this
and knowing your
people.
lane, right?
Yeah.
Jared, like media studies, economic studies, a little bit on like some pushing around electoral work, philosophical or ideological platforms on what way forward. Like he's put out positions, on what we should be doing as opposed to what we're doing. I think all of that matters really, really a lot. And if he does, maybe give him his flowers a little bit, because the books in that series, I think have been, I won't call it a culmination because he has so much work to do. But for me, it's been like, wow, this is why I fuck with this dude. Like, you know, I learned so much. It's like, oh yeah, you know. Like, we know, I know you can be petty and stuff like that, but you know, but like you know,
not Jared, petty officer. You know, I hit him up yesterday to find out a good IPA beer to drink, and he put me on. So I mean, like, his knowledge, his knowledge is there. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that beer.
Yeah, check that out. Yeah, check out the Malcolm stuff, and it brings you back to the politics of why we should be organizing, what organizing we should be doing. And it also, you know, and again, in a weird way, is like, you know, like a man has been murdered for, what is it now? 60 years ago. But it's everything that he spoke about then has so much relevance to what's happening now. And that the problem has not shifted the way people would like to believe. All these there's got to be new solutions, and you can't do it or whatever, like some of the elders talked about. It's like, really, if you listen to it, you can. If you listen to it, it's not like the answer is something mysterious or we can't figure it out. It is hardcore organizing and bringing people together and figuring out different ways to work together to build Black institutions and to challenge what's happening and to be Pan-African and in a sense of like understanding how the world works and hooking up with the diaspora. There's just so much that like is the basis for what we should be doing, and some people are doing, but what we should be doing today, that it's almost a shame that we've regressed so much, because all these other things that people think are magic bullets and or things that get people paid, you know, come into the place of like hardcore organizing. So it brought me back when I'm sitting down listening. In fact, I was mad that he ended after an hour yesterday. I was like, yo, what's going on?
That's what bring you. I mean, it's so much information. You can't give it all away. You know what I mean? It's got to keep you coming back. And we've been working together, and the Remix Morning Show will be celebrating its 4th year this month coming up on the 20th, 4/20. That is when we first started. So
my God, 4 years.
That's some shit. Y'all been fucking with us for 4 years. Big up to all y'all out there, the remixers, you know what I mean? Ones that started, one that's just coming in here. Yes, we've been doing this for 4 years. I've been seeing this brother on the screen for 7 years. Actually live
doing with each other for 7 years.
For 7 years.
Damn. You're like my best friend, I think, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but
I don't think I have any relationships that have lasted this long as well.
Wow. And I guess it's because I never been in your house, so we never really hang.
I think that's useful.
That's what it is.
I think that's a good idea. I think all my relationships should be like that. All of them.
That's all what it is.
All of them.
Yeah, we hung out maybe like since Renegade Culture, I think we actually hung out maybe like 5 times.
Yeah.
Play some spades.
Yeah. We smoked together, and I don't even smoke, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Did we drop acid together or no?
Whoa, he didn't do none of that. No.
What about the mushrooms? Those the mushrooms?
Nope.
No. I did. Somebody gave me.
Yeah. Jared.
Yes.
Jared.
Like full form. Yeah, I know we did some kind of drugs together.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
What little drugs I do, you know what I mean? Like it's always, I got to be encouraged.
Let's get this understood. A drug to me is man-made. If it comes out the ground, it's not a drug.
What do you want to call it? What's the good word for it?
A plant?
A plant? Something that alters your state of mind slightly.
Yeah. I don't know.
We've done some drugs together. We've done some things that have altered our state of mind together. And again, always the big one that people like. I like to bring up is that you cooked me breakfast.
I like to bring in our drug specialist. Burn it down, Kim Brown.
Oh, no. Oh, good morning.
Good morning. We're reminiscing.
Good morning. Hello, my enemies. May you have a very, very, very bad day.
Oh, my.
Who are you talking to? Not us.
I'm talking to you and you.
Oh, damn, though. Ear doctor, that's right. What is
y'all
do? I ain't call you on your phone.
Do y'all hear these ableist revolutionaries? Y'all hear them, right? Y'all hear them.
That was him.
Y'all hear the ableist revolutionaries.
Wait a minute, I didn't say anything bad.
I'm glad. I love to hear it. You know why?
All I said was
I know when it comes to the revolution, I cannot grab on either one of y'all's arms.
No, I got you.
So
you know I got you.
No,
I got to drag you out.
No,
I thought
you
I had to
don't.
drag you.
So
You
there's a
still
couple
won't hit no
things here.
glass doors.
I have three things here. First of all,
Can I
Damn,
take
she
want
been
y'all to
taking
remember-
notes.
I want y'all to remember that number one, my mother watches this show. So that's first of all. Second of all, other disabled people can hear you. That's second of all. Third of all, it's not a matter of if, gentlemen, it is a matter of when. And when disability comes, I want the both of you to know I got jokes. I don't care if y'all hooked up to ICUs, tubes, wheelchairs.
I would love that.
I'm
I would love
walking
the
in with
jokes.
fucking jokes. So tell
love
your
the jokes.
families in advance that I don't care how sick you are, nigga. I'm coming in
Please.
clowning.
I'm gonna be
Clowning.
laughing on the
Clowning.
bed, like
Clowning.
please.
Since we have established what the rules of engagement are,
I didn't say
got you.
anything.
I got you.
We
Got
gotta-
it.
God. The only thing I said, so I think you misheard. I think
Oh
you
no.
misheard.
Oh, I heard everything.
You heard everything. You were
I
listening?
heard everything.
Wait. Come out. I like your hair, Kim.
Everything. I heard everything. That's okay. The rules have been established. So please,
They were
let-
already established.
Tell your family members they better not try to fight me when I come in there with jokes. They be like, Kim,
Oh, they
get
might be
your
laughing
keys in
with you.
intensive
No,
care.
you don't gotta even worry
This
about
nigga
that.
had jokes. You don't understand.
You ain't got to worry about that. My kids will start them off.
I like your hoop earrings, Kim.
My kids will start
Oh,
them
you
off.
too, Naka.
What
It-
did I
it be-
do?
It be y'all heathen vegans. Y'all be going first. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be right there. Your kids gonna
Yeah,
look at me
I was
crazy
telling
as
them
shit.
about the video I found.
Oh, that's not all you was telling them. Y'all was telling them how y'all walked me in the shit. What else was y'all telling them?
Damn.
No, I didn't walk
Wait
you
a minute.
into
Wait. Why is she doing all this listening and not on screen?
I didn't walk you into shit. I saved you after you were walked in.
You didn't save a motherfucker.
I did. I came in like with a Cape Crusader type of shit, and they'd be like, "I'll step in here."
That's what you think you is, bro.
And then I put
That's
out
how
my
you
strong
imagine
arm
yourself.
with the
That's
big
what you see
muscle.
in
It's
your
a
dream.
huge muscle that you had to grab
A
onto.
huge muscle, sir.
And then
Please knock it off.
How's your weekend, Kim?
I just want y'all to know the rules. And chat, I don't even know what the chat is saying, but here's the funny thing. This is what I love. And and I know y'all don't believe that it's ableism, and that's fine. But I just want y'all to know that other disabled people hear you. And I know they be like,
I
damn,
didn't say
I thought
anything
Kim was
about
they
disabled
friend.
All right,
people.
let
Kim
me-
is
let-
their friend, and that's how
I
they talk about
said-
her disability.
No,
I'm
the
cracking
only
on
thing I
any and
said-
everybody. It don't
Oh, that's
matter.
a lie.
I think there's a misunderstanding. I truly do.
No.
Can I repeat the only thing I said?
No,
And you
come
tell me
out.
if this is offensive.
I heard you, beloved.
You know,
don't
I just want to make
understand.
sure. I
Yeah.
love it when you call me beloved. That's so.
No.
I know
Again,
you didn't mean it in a beautiful
I'm
way.
not
Now you
going
think I
for
love
the
it
Gemini
afterwards.
charm. It's not
No,
working.
I'm just saying in
You already
general, I
know-
love it.
you done fucked up. It's not
I know.
even
He said
30.
the show is live. Yes, it is live. We're being cursed out on air as we speak.
Yes, we are. Thanks.
The
Oh, I'm
only thing-
sorry. Somebody thought this was a fake. Oh, y'all thought I'm.
Somebody
fake
thought it was like a
news
repeat.
niggas
I don't know
out?
what they thought it was.
No.
That's
Hey,
fine.
Kamal brought that energy this morning.
He did, and I
I'm
got
just
it
saying.
back.
I was
on.
so
Let's
happy
go.
that I found the film of when we did
I
the
know.
interview
And
together.
then you talk about, oh, she looked like she could see there. Do I look like I can't see now?
No, I just meant back
do.
then. I thought it looked more like. No, you do, but I thought you was reading a teleprompter back then or something.
I was.
Yeah, which you probably can't do today.
I don't know. I haven't tried.
Well, my point is made though.
Bam.
What is your point?
Oh, but I thought back then you could
What is your
see
fucking
more.
point?
That you can see better than you can see now. Was that it?
But here's the funny thing. Most people don't know that I'm visually impaired until I tell them, right?
I agree with that. I had no idea. I still, even today, sometimes it's hard for me to believe
Yeah.
until we actually met personally, like that you have that.
As you get these jokes off. Again,
Well, you know.
wow, it's
I
fine.
mean, don't we have all stuff that we
Round
joke?
rules.
Okay,
Round
okay,
rules
Kim,
have been
Kim.
established.
I'm gonna
What?
say this. You gotta give it. You gotta take it as good as you give it.
I
He can't
agree.
do nothing about his light skin, but you always got jokes about how light and bright
That
he
is a
is.
disability.
But
And
that's
that is
his disability.
It's a disability.
But
Then,
the
wait a
fight
minute.
to be
Let me
light-skinned?
finish.
Hold on, real quick.
Let me
You know the
finish.
pain
For
of being
that.
light
There's a
skinned?
reason for that.
A light skinned black man? Do you know
Hold
my
on, there's a
pain?
reason for that. There's a reason for that. I specifically make light skin jokes about y'all because duh, nigga. What the fuck? Of course I'm making light skin jokes. I am light skinned.
You are lighter than me, that's true.
Well, that is incorrect. Again, my vision ain't that fucking compromised, my nigga. I know you got 3 shades.
If
on
I
me.
can see anything, I can see how light you are.
Your light ass be bright in the way. So I crack light skin jokes because I am light skin. I make goofy light skin because I am a goofy light skin. I also make the light skin jokes.
Okay, here's another thing.
Mhm.
Older elders do not like hearing the word nigga. say it constantly, and you don't give it. You don't care. So wait. It might be traumatic for them, and it might hurt them when they hear this word. But wait.
Yeah, doctor.
But, but when you say it,
you talking about boomers. I'm sorry. You talking about boomers? Boomers are offended by nigga. Have you met boomers? Do you know boomers?
older people. I would say elders.
I'm not a
That's what the
boomer,
boomer-
by the way. Just in
Elders.
case anybody thinks.
Let me tell you something. Boomers perfected the use of nigga. What are you talking about?
I'm saying they don't like to hear it because it's traumatic because they've been through stuff, so it might hurt. It might.
What? I ain't never been called a nigga by a white numerous times. Come on.
So why everybody else can get joked for certain things? You got big feet. You got certain size head. Everybody should be able to get a joke and take a joke.
But there's jokes, and then there's cracking people or on people simply because of their disability. That's where I
And
draw.
that I do not do.
Yes.
Oh. To a large degree.
You terrible ass nigga.
Sometimes
That's
not.
exactly what you did. That's exactly what you
Sometimes not.
did.
So if I see somebody in a wheelchair and I'm like, "You rolling with us?" Am I being wrong?
I don't think,
That's
but
a
that's
good
not
one.
a
I like that
joke.
one. I
You
like
know what
that
I'm saying?
one.
Because they are literally rolling, right? I don't think a wheelchair user would take that as a slight. Now, if you trying to tell, you trying to
I
tell
say
me
you're a
to get
stand-up
up or
guy.
some shit. Why don't
Yeah.
you get up and run some ball with us? Like, what, nigga? What are you even talking
I'm
about?
like, he's a real stand-up
And that
guy.
can be funny in certain circumstances. That one though.
But I think, let me put it anyway. I'll let the chat determine taste. Let me not impose my my
Chat.
views
Put in there,
on
chat. If was I being ableist or not?
Oh,
And if more people than not say I was being ableist, I will make a public apology to you.
but why does it have to take the will of the people?
Like they know something anyway, man.
They know something.
They come here to listen to us. I
I
mean,
feel like they know something anyway.
Well, then roll the
Well,
comments.
y'all,
then.
not me.
Roll the comments there. What's the people saying? I want to hear that. I want to hear the
oh,
polls.
of course, Amber said apologize. Oh my goodness.
Somebody said, "Yeah, keep on pushing like your leaders tell you. Why can't you just believe? Why can't you just believe black women? I don't do that."
What?
Yes,
says that?
yes. Oh, there's a lot of yeses up here.
Nah, man. I told
One
you, they
person
gonna
so
be
far
on
said
camera.
no.
Sorry.
Appreciate that. And someone said Kamal was being Camus. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
It's
Kim,
no, it's no hurt.
I-
It's no attention. No bad intentions. This is
I
jokes.
know, guys, but
I
see, this
publicly apologize. I hope that you believe I did not mean any offense. I will watch how I talk about people who are suffering from some sort of disability in the future. I will take this in as a lesson. And I love you dearly. And I'll leave it there.
you are spoken like a man that's been in charge. You've had to make too many public apologies. Good at that.
You can't win.
I
can't.
didn't do though. I didn't do the I apologize
sorry if you were
if
offended.
if I made you feel.
Oh, you do the feel?
Yeah, that one. I love that. That's the classic apology.
Yeah.
No, and
I like
see,
that one.
gentlemen, I don't perceive y'all are not bad dudes. I don't think y'all are not bad minded. Y'all don't mean it, but it's kind of revelatory in the ways in how casual ableism is. Like that goofy shit that nigga Kanye tweeted about Jay-Z and Beyonce's
Oh
kids.
man.
And I'm like, and the shit
Ooh.
just this nigga didn't think anything was wrong with what he said. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that
Even
was wild.
children as privileged and so-called protected as Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids ain't immune from ableism from some fucking rando on the internet. You know what I mean?
And
So
he is basically at the stage of rando on the internet. Like I think he's well, and again, he's actually suffering from his own, right? Not that gives any whatever, but he has his own disabilities that he's suffering from.
he
apparently.
does.
Yeah.
He does. So anyway, chat. But again,
Wait,
y'all,
what's the disability he has?
everybody hears you. They hear it. And yes, I know I say nigga. I know I crack light skin jokes. I know I curse like a fucking sailor. But I try not. I try not to harp on immutable characteristics, but I know I do crack on Kamal for being light skinned.
Let's look
Which
within.
I'm basically not.
I think it's time for a break.
I'm just.
But I just listen.
That's what makes
now,
them so funny. What makes them so funny is that I'm brown, and then you make these light skin jokes. About me.
Please tell your family when you in ICU, don't fight me when I'm coming in there with jokes. Look at this nigga stretched out with tubes in his nose. Nigga, can you breathe? Get
They
your
will
green
love
nugget.
that. What are you talking about? They will love that.
It's
They will love
Manila. It's Manila brown.
Manila is Manila, my nigga.
Okay.
There's a Manila folder, Manila,
A
Manila
Canal.
construction paper,
it. So I'm the color of Manila?
Thriller in Manila.
And
No,
then
Kamau
when
is
he-
see-through. Kamau was
What
a good
color
bowel
is that? What is
movement away from being see-through, sir.
Nigga transparent. He talking about, let me be transparent. Y'all, hey, you already are. All right, let's take a break, man. Y'all started me up this morning. Welcome to Remix Morning Show, y'all, where we give you everything right here. And let's take a break right here on the Remix Morning Show. I keep forgetting I don't love you no more. Big up, everybody. Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and go to patreon.com, become a member over there and get footage that's rare. And yes, what you can do is at the bottom of the screen, if you haven't seen, it says blkliberationmedia.org. What? Go there. Why? Donate. Why? Because we are demonetized as a channel, and this is the only way we can make sure this boat stay afloat, this train stays on track, and black stay black. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and get to the weather report. Now, let's start off at ATL. We got a high today. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We back, baby. It's the new year has started. High is 76 degrees. Next, let's take it to BK, Brooklyn. They got a high today of 56. Still a little cold, 20 degrees colder. Ugh. You talk about even colder than that. Let's go to Chicago, high of 44. Then Houston, 87 degrees, nice and warm. Just like Oakland. Oakland got a high of 81 degrees also. And Jamaica, Kingston, my people down there, they got a high of 90 degrees. And last but not least, let me take you to Bamako, Mali. That's right, Bamako, Mali. They got a high today of 94 degrees. Nice and hot. So big up to that. Speaking of hot, now let me get to something that is very hot. Just dropping for you and yours. Organic Blend. That's right. The mixtape has dropped. The mixtape. Let me take that down. Damn, I ain't got that. Okay. All right. Let me take that down. The mixtape has dropped. Yes. Organic Blend Volume 1. I am going to put in the chat the link where you can go cop that. And it is a blend of R&B and hip hop. We talking about how, we say we want to meet each other and have it organically meet instead of how this internet stuff be nowadays. Now, how R&B and hip hop mix together and mash together, you get it right here on Organic Blends. All right, with that said, that's the hotness. Now let's get back to the Remix Morning Crew. Nah, we do.
Me singing a Kamau.
I know. But you know how this all started? Why this all started was because I found this. Here we go.
Oh!
Extension of what Trump has been saying recently, that the election will be
What was I wearing?
in favor of Democrat Hillary Clinton, and he may not be likely to concede defeat should he lose. And joining us to discuss this and some of the constitutional and Supreme Court issues raised at Wednesday night's debate is Kamau K. Franklin. Kamau is
Oh my God.
organized
Look
around
at that big ass blazer.
sustainable urban communities. Thank you so
You
much for
spend your
joining
whole
us,
life
Kamau.
not being able to dress.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, let's start with what Trump just said just now. That was recorded Thursday, earlier.
You see how
today.
her blazer
Covering
fits?
down
Oh,
on
you
what
say my
he said
blazer
in the
don't fit?
debate.
Wait a minute.
Yo, you can fit
You got
5 people in
democracy,
that
but there is
blazer.
a democracy
Stop.
here.
Those are my
It's
actual
a major
shoulders.
upheaval within the
Negro, please.
system. Something that I
You
think
got shoulder pads like the designer women in the 80s.
Back
Stop
and those
playing.
were in back when I was on that show with her. That was like 9-10 years ago, I guess.
Shoulder pads, he said. There were shoulder pads in that
Shoulder pads were
blazer?
in. I think they were shoulder pads in that blazer.
It
They were in.
was. Oh, I know style. I know that was designing women back in
Dog, why was that about to
That
say?
was
Did you
some
borrow
big
that from your
and tall
mom's? Was that your mom's blazer? Had the Velcro, you could the removable shoulder pads with the Velcro on the jump.
Who was the oldest one of the Golden Girls? The
Oh,
one who had the mom?
Sophia.
No, not
Petrino.
that old one. The one who had the daughter of the mom.
Oh, Dorothy's born.
Dorothy would rock what? Yeah, them Dorothy blazer on. I see.
Not Dorothy.
So the
Blazer.
pads were in.
So Kamal, I'm so sorry. I do not remember those interviews. I do
I did not
remember
either. Go ahead, go ahead.
meeting you at the Real News. Paul J introduced you, and of course, I'm sure I was nice and polite and cordial, but inside my head, I'm like, who is this pretty Ricky ass nigga? Is what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking first time I met you. Oh, hello, Kamal. I'm Kim. Nice to meet you. Blah blah blah. Thinking to myself, who is this pretty Ricky ass nigga?
What is he here for? What does he want? What does he want here?
You have to be. I mean, Kamal, you have the phenotype that it's skepticism. You know what I'm saying? Tall, light skin, curly hair. You better be skeptical of them niggas all day.
And thank God you grew that beard in. Oh my God.
I liked it. I might go back to the
No.
Wow. Maybe we should just do the news.
Anyway,
Nice though. I mean, I feel like it's the leadership. You got the Obama thing going on, sir. It's been it's 10 years. It's been tough 10.
Anyway, back to if y'all want, I sent all my remix people their copy of Organic Blends. Like I said, you want to go cop that? It's in the chat room. Go right there. $7, nothing. You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
And Brittany, no, it's not AI made. I made it. It's a picture of my kids' hands.
Now, you sent me some stuff in by email. So am I supposed to put those stuff on Patreon?
No.
You just sent it to me.
That's why I said personal gift.
Oh, thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, you are the gift that keeps on giving.
He really is.
Yeah, and we were just me, and I know we want to go to the news real quick, but me and Ear Doc was reminiscing about our own time together.
7 years.
7 years we spent together. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like how that sound, but
I had to get coming. I was trying to put it together. I couldn't get it quick. I couldn't get it quick enough.
I don't like how that sounds.
We've been partners for 7 years. I don't understand what the problem is.
We've been friends for 7 years. You're right.
Yeah, business partners. You know what I'm saying? We've been partners for 7 years.
Business partners, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can shorten it and say partners.
I mean, y'all are in Atlanta. It's fine.
I need y'all to relax right about now. See,
anyway, I might have to put a ring on it.
I feel a little uncomfortable right now.
You think a little different in Atlanta.
Put a ring on it. I might put a ring on it.
Friendship ring.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever gotten him a real jewelry. Like maybe I get him like a jewelry gift or whatever like that.
It's his 50th birthday. You should do something special for him.
I keep forgetting that. That's right. My man's getting older too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Remix Morning Show, folks. How y'all doing? It's Kim Brown, downtown Kim Brown. Kamal Franklin here. Apparently, Kamal is aging by the second. I was told in the chat, like in dog years. But
I think it's fatherhood. I think fatherhood did that to you. Either fatherhood or leadership. I don't know which one. Which one did it?
No, yeah, 10 years. Those are hard. You're right. Those were hard 10 years or whatever like that. So yeah, you want to slap the map and get into some news?
Let's go ahead. Two-step into the news here, Doctor.
Boom.
Till the end. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Remix Morning Show, exclusively on Black Liberation Media. Today is the 25th of March, 2025, 3/25/25, y'all. Go play a number. We got Kim Brown, Kamal Franklin, the Ear Doctor, the wonderful Remix chat. Thank you, chat. I know contrary to popular opinion, I do see y'all and I appreciate y'all seeing me. So thank you guys so much. Shout out to my niece Alicia. Thank you so much for the Cash App support, my little sister. So anyway, Kamal. I like you a lot, Kamal. I'm trying not to be mad at you.
Right, love. There's love here. Love.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but sometimes you smack people you love. It happens, you know?
I know. I deserve it though. I deserve it. Okay, I got some news stories pulled up. Do you have anything pulled up that you want
Not
me to?
immediately, no, sir.
So I wanted to start. This is an ongoing story about different people being attacked and or the attempt to pick folks up around the immigration issue. So you've had students who've participated in what I recall anti-genocide campaigns, challenging basically the murderous campaign by United States and Israel, which have killed over 50,000 Palestinians, people protesting, particularly over the last year. With the Trump administration taking office, they have now started to seize on the idea of deporting students who are on visa and students who are permanent residents. And so now we've had, I think, approximately three or four students, at least the ones that we can count in particular, who've been picked up. And this is in addition, of course, to the general raids in terms of immigration and the people being said to be in gangs and just being taken out on flights late at night and dropped into in some countries they've never even been before. So I'm only focusing on this because this is dealing with students who have been making political speech mostly. And these students are being targeted. One particular student, Mamadou Tal, who is now apparently escaped to Canada, but still is suing Trump because it was understood that he was being targeted. And so really quickly, I'll read a couple of quick pieces in the story. It says, anything that shows solidarity of Palestine is being mischaracterized quite erroneously as anti-Semitism. That's the way in which they are trying to get us to stop speaking about Palestine, says Mamadou Tal, a Cornell University graduate student and activist now facing deportation and challenging the Trump administration in court. The risk of political speech have escalated dramatically for international students like Tal. He spoke to The Intercept briefly yesterday, underscoring the chilling reality he and his new peers face. It's not just that you might get kicked out of school or suspended, says Tal, but you are threatened with deportation and ICE custody now. That's what's at stake here. And so last week, a federal official sent Tal's attorney a midnight email demanding he appear before the Immigration and Customs Enforcement on Tuesday. The email provided no grounds for the request. This typically marks the beginning of a removal proceeding against an individual in the U.S. Only afterward, over the weekend, did the Department of Justice claim that Tal's student visa had been revoked on March 14th by the State Department due to disruptive protests and creating a hostile environment for Jewish students. The timing is telling. Just days after Tal, a dual Gambian and British citizen, joined other Cornell plaintiffs in a lawsuit accusing the Trump administration of targeting international students for supporting Palestinian rights. In their complaint, the plaintiffs stated the First Amendment protects people and not citizens alone. This includes non-citizens living in the U.S. So I just wanted to put that part out there very quickly. If I can find the New York Times story that has another student from Colombia,
Wow,
who is also facing deportation hearings potentially. And this student, when I can find the right article, is a permanent resident and has been in the United States since they were 7. They are I think their family is from South Korea. And this particular student, according to this article, which I'll bring up quickly, has participated in these protests. But this particular student, at least again, according to the article, has not been a leader in these protests. They were just a student who happened to fit what the Trump administration is trying to target, as in someone who is a permanent resident and who are not a quote unquote citizen, but participated in pro-Palestinian demonstrations, as they call them, but anti-genocide demonstrations, as I call them. So really quickly, I just want to read a couple of lines from this, because the rationale or excuse that the State Department uses is so transparently outrageous or nothing to do with any sort of legal statute, but basically just a way to demonize people who support Palestinians not being murdered and killed. That is just it's an incredible, sort of remarkable, overtly again anti-Palestine sentiment. So it says a 21-year-old Columbia University student who has lived in the United States since she was a child sued President Trump and other high-ranking administrative officials on Monday after immigration officials tried to arrest and deport her. The student, I think it's Young-Soo Chung, is a legal permanent resident and junior who has participated in pro-Palestinian demonstrations at the school. The Trump administration is arguing that her presence in the United States hinders the administration's foreign policy agenda of halting the spread of anti-Semitism. The administration officials, including the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, cited the same rationale in explaining the arrest this month of Mahmoud Kahil, a graduate student and permanent resident who is being held in Louisiana. Unlike Mr. Cahill, Ms. Chung does not appear to have been a prominent figure in the demonstrations that shook the school last year, but she was one of several students arrested this year in connection with a protest at Barnard College. Ms. Chung, a high school valedictorian who moved to the United States with her family from South Korea when she was 7, has not been detained by ICE. She remains in the country, but her lawyers would not comment on her whereabouts. Her lawsuit in federal court in Manhattan shows the extensive, if so far unsuccessful efforts by immigration officials to arrest her. Agents historically prefer to pick up immigrants in jails or in prisons. Other types of arrests are more difficult, often requiring hours of research, surveillance, and other investigative resources. But federal agents, when you go here, immigration and customs enforcement officials visited several residents, called for help from federal prosecutors, searched Ms. Chung's university housing on March 13th. They also texted her and called her, demanding that she turn herself in. So again, she is the claim here that somehow by her and these other folks expressing support for Palestinians not being murdered, not being genocided, is somehow anti-U.S. And that does make sense, of course, because it is anti-U.S. foreign policy to suggest that Palestinians should not be killed randomly and sporadically by the United States government. And even more so, their claim somehow is that this by supporting Palestinians, they're being anti-Semitic. And so that is their public claim to try to get the public, particularly folks who are ignorant of what's happening in Palestine, on their side. But that's just a part of the story that's taken place. Again, 3 or 4 that we know. There was a student in California who was deported not too long ago. There's
a student. There's a gentleman who is a fellow at Georgetown. There were protests over the weekend in support of him when ICE agents came to, I think he lived in Rosslyn, which is in Northern Virginia, came to his house. He's married to an American citizen. They kidnapped him. And fortunately, his attorneys were able to intervene quick enough, I think, to get before a judge. And the judge ordered that this man cannot be deported without a hearing. So they were able, I hope, to at least stop his deportation, though I don't think he's been released out of ICE custody. He's an Indian national who's here legally, also on a visa, and kidnapped, and they're accusing him of supposedly making pro-Hamas comments. And again, pro-Hamas, okay. In support of Palestinians living and not being genocided. Is that pro-Hamas now, Kamal? Is that what pro-Hamas qualifies as now?
You see, that is what it qualifies as. If you say anything in support of Palestinians, and again, not that anyone is saying that they don't have a right to be pro-Hamas, but obviously the wording of what the United States government is doing, because again, people are so propagandized to believe that Hamas, which is a liberation force in Gaza, in Palestine, that somehow that force, that them by themselves, by saying that name, that somehow you are supporting quote unquote terrorism, which again is another propaganda tool because the only terrorists in this situation is the Israeli government and the United States government. And the right of people who are being terrorized to fight back and liberate themselves is being suppressed, and through the language of, again, what gets put out in popular media, is the way in which people are so awashed in this kind of propaganda that they don't think twice about it. Like, oh, somebody that, so there is pushback and fight back. But the numbers need to grow, because this is, again, this is a start, because they've already talked about going after so-called birthright citizenship, and these folks seem to be easy marks, because even when the court potentially decides in the favor of the plaintiff or the favor of the detainee, it doesn't necessarily mean that the Trump administration, as it's rolling, is going to listen to what the courts are saying. And so even we had the case with the Venezuelan nationals who were the folks who were called gang members, and there are several stories that says that their tats were insignificant and not any representation of gangs, but personal choices in terms of style. That when the judge told them to turn the plane around, they did not stop what they're doing. They continued to do what they did, and continue to justify what they did. So we are in a place where overtly, again, this is not necessarily has never happened before within the context of what the U.S. is. Again, remember, even U.S. citizens, the U.S. Basically did not allow, in terms of an opposite way, did not allow people like Paul Robeson, at one point W.E.B. Du Bois, to even travel, like revoking their passports, because they did not want them to leave the country and be able to talk about the true nature of the United States. Here, what they don't want is people who support Palestinians' right to live and exist to be able to protest in the country, and so they want them out the country. So again, these things happen in different variations throughout history, but we are certainly at a time period where being a supporter of Palestinians not being genocided is, in a sense, becoming a new McCarthyism.
It's the verbiage here. Obviously, the actions are indeed very scary, but when the Trump administration says that these persons are, quote, supporting Hamas, and I need support to be specifically defined. What does that mean? Does that mean simply raising up your voice in support? Are they fundraising for Hamas? Which we know that's not what's happening. But just simply, literally, your speech. People are being disappeared for speech in this country. And again, not new, as you know, having worked with political prisoners for many decades. People get railroaded just based off their speech and their actions. But for folks some of these folks are political, but many of them aren't. The people that are being deported to El Salvador, who are not themselves El Salvadorian, simply by being Venezuelan, I hope, because the Trumps, they don't strike me as a administration that can distinguish between Latinos, right? They just snatching whoever the fuck. It's scary times, and I don't see where this ends. Like, I just see this as the beginning wave. These are the people that they're going after first, right? Like, what wave are we? Third, fourth, fifth? But it's a wave, right?
Yeah, I think we are the second or third wave, because other information that is coming out. Some of this happened before Trump came into office, but is now being pointed in a certain direction. I think we spoke about this several months ago, how organizations, whether or not they have nonprofit status or not, but how organizations who have come out and supported Palestinians in terms of their right not to be genocide and their right to self-determination basically have been put on several different lists. And the ones who have certain legal structures, the idea is that the Trump administration, through the IRS or other mechanisms, is going to target those organizations, not only for revoking their status, and so their ability to fundraise and so forth, but also potentially along those same lines as claiming some sort of RICO charges as people are entering a conspiracy in terms of being opposed to U.S. foreign policy and or supporting terrorism from afar. So these are the kind of things that are definitely people are thinking about and talking about, that potentially coming down the pike. It's not even, and like you said, it's not any kind of so-called material support. The only material support that most of these organizations are in any position to give is through raising their voice and protesting and demonstrating in various different ways. But that is the level of support. And even that support is too much support at this particular stage in terms of the cowardly way in which the U.S. government is moving to stop all detractors of its policies. And so that is something that we see starting to happen. And again, we all have to rise to the occasion. CMB has been put on some of those lists. I know BAP has been put on some of those lists. And so we understand that this is not, like you said, this is not going to stop here. These are the opening salvos, right? The opening shots by this administration. But the further they get, the further that they're going to push themselves to be like, oh, we got away with that. We're going to get away with this next. Let's do this next. Let's target these folks next. So all of that is stuff that we, all of us here and in the chat and the rest of us, not only have to prepare for, but in my opinion, have to start taking some forward action against. We cannot sit silent. We cannot wish that we are just, if we are quiet, then they won't come after us. We have to continue to grow, and we have to continue to organize to protect those who already are getting arrested and detained. But also, again, to make sure that we already have enough infrastructure in place to begin to fight back when they come after the rest of the organizations that we are a part of.
This is moving with all deliberate speed, right? In the way that we hoped Supreme Court rulings that, for example, I think was it Brown versus Board of Education that ruled, the schools would be desegregated with all deliberate speed, but that meant no deliberate speed. But the deliberate speed is what Trump is moving out here. It's impressive, and not like in a laudable way. It's impressive in its scope, its scale, and its cruelty. And he's just accelerating. So here we are, late March. I don't know what this is going to look like come summer. I don't know what this is going to look like come fall. But I do encourage people, do what you can, you guys. Get at minimum, try to get your paperwork together in case you have to flee, or if you have an opportunity. I'm so glad that Mahmoud, Mr. Tal, was able to get across the Canadian border, and they had to have their paperwork straight in order to do that, gang. So all this shit about real ID and all that, if you can, try to get your hands on your vital documents, your birth certificate with the raised seal, your social security card. Try to get your hands on these things, and make sure that your identifications, your real ID, your passport, if you can afford it. Maybe we can crowdsource some passport money. We got to do something. I think I know everyone's not going to be able to flee Kamau, but I think we should all try to at least have the option if we can, right?
And I think I'm being told in the chat that I misspoke, and I think you followed up with something that I said that was wrong. That Mamadou did not. Did not self-deport. And in fact, Musa, who he just did an article, I think it's in Monde Wise. He just published an interview with him yesterday and spoke to him an hour ago. So I think I just gave out some wrong information. I apologize for that. If that is the case, that he did not leave, and maybe his whereabouts are unknown. So that was some public information that was released, or I read. And so apologize for that. And maybe, Musa, if you have time, it would be great if you could come on, if not today, maybe this week, to talk a little bit, because Musa has actually interviewed him. It may have some additional facts that we don't have that could add to the story. So if that was possible, again, if not today, then maybe at some point this week, that would be fantastic to give us an update on that case, and a little bit more information on what's happening with some of the students themselves. But on that note, so let's take a break with the ear doctor to come back up.
Is that the same Musa on the Cuban documentary?
Yes.
That's the same Musa, yes.
We need to talk, Musa.
And let me quality work takes time. I have the highest confidence in Musa's abilities to deliver a stellar product. Ear doctor. Shit takes time, my nigga. What? I mean, it does.
Okay.
It's coming. It's not like it ain't coming.
Uh-huh.
That shit is cooking.
All
Simmer
right.
down.
I need a mental health break after that.
Musa, don't listen to these niggas.
Oh, please do. Please do. We'll talk off screen. Let's take a mental health break right here on the Remix Morning Show. It's time for a remix on the remix.
I've been everywhere, man, looking for someone who can please me, love me all night long. I've been everywhere, man, looking for someone who can please me, love me all night long. I've been everywhere, man, looking for you, babe, searching for you, babe. Where have you been? 'Cause I never see you out. Are you hiding from me? Yeah. Somewhere in the crowd.
Okay, let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 2009 with DJ Class off that album Booty Breaks Volume 4. The name of that song is I'm the Ish. Mixed with a little bit of 2011 off that album Talk That Talk. We got Rihanna with the song Where Have You Been? Alright, that is your remix on the remix. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, go to patreon.com, become a member over there and get footage that's rare. And yes, you can donate right here at blokliberationmedia.org. That is where you can go and donate since we are demonetized. That helps us do what we do here for you and yours. All right, with that said, if you like these blends like that, guess what you can do? You can go and get that right there. That Organic Blend Volume 1. So keep it going. And big up to One Broke Scorpio who just copped that blend. Big up to you and yours. Now let's get back to our crew right here on the Remix Morning Show.
Jermaine or Jermaine? Them niggas can do this.
Yeah, I'm the shit.
It's like two twins.
Up in the.
He might fuck you. I might
Yeah, I'm the shit.
All right.
That was so good. That was so good. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and put that that back in the chitty chat room for you.
Link to where people can pick that up from.
Where they can
Yeah,
cop. Oh, Leah Boggs. Thank you for copying that. That is, I had a feeling that was Leah Boggs.
You'll get it right one. I mean, it's like we'll get it.
It's
right
Leah. It's Leah Boggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can you have you ever done a class on how to DJ? Do you do that kind of stuff? Somebody put that in. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I do. I've been doing my after school stuff, and I do one-on-one sessions too. I might see
And
about
it's literally
doing
like a
online.
class on how to, like, you teach people how to DJ correctly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What would you say is the 1 or 2 essential elements to being a good DJ?
Reading the crowd, and also not thinking it's about you. It's about the crowd. It's about the people.
That's good advice.
Some people will only be like, "Ooh, watch me hit them with this." Watch them, see what they nod in their head to, and then have like 2 or 3 songs that go with that song, and then be able to transition into some other type of vibe. It's all about vibration.
Like, is it disappointing when the DJs, like the crowd? I mean, for the crowd, I feel like it's disappointing as I speak for the crowd for back in my party days. When the DJ, like everybody's on the floor and the DJ switches genres or does something, and everybody starts to leave the floor. Is that like a bad DJ? Because are you supposed to just always keep it up, or is there a time where you feel like it's going as high as it can go, and you got to level that off and start with something new and bring it back up again?
It's all about how you do it, because when you are going to a different genre, yeah, you're gonna have some people leave the dance floor, but if you keep the energy at a certain, they're gonna keep dancing. They're gonna be like, all right, I don't want to leave the dance floor, and then they'll be like, let me see what this song is and see why everybody else around me is dancing. So sometimes a follow the leader type thing that goes on the dance floor if you keep the energy up at transition.
What's the hardest skill of DJing that's difficult for people to grasp? Mixing, blending, cut, scratch, song selection, beat matching.
I would say scratching, because nowadays beat matching, it shows you the beat, how fast the BPM is right there on the screen. So yeah, I would say scratching. That would be the hardest, if anything. But yeah, really keeping people on the dance floor, that's the hardest thing to do. So
now, is that because people don't dance no more? All they do is this.
All they do is this.
All they do
is this. Look at their phone. Nah, but you gotta put people on. You gotta get on the microphone, get them out there. You gotta do all that stuff. You can't just sit back.
You're good at that. You're good at that. You're a good host and DJ. Not all. A lot of DJs think that they are great hosts as well, and I disagree. And for a DJ to be good on the turntables and good on the mic, I think is a rare combination.
And Zenzabel is right. People do dance. I think it's regional. It definitely depending on the region. Because you go down to New Orleans, something like that, they gonna be dancing. And that's
them.
That's just what they do, And happy belated birthday to you, Zenzabel. I know you just had.
Hey, Zenzabel, you had a belated birthday. Happy belated birthday, Zenzi.
Yeah, happy birthday! I got you, girl. I got you.
Yeah, Zenzi, go back, man.
I think I've known Zenzi for like.
She said longer than me.
Yeah, no, at least like we were both in our 20s when we met. Young organizers on the scene in Brooklyn,
And this was during civil rights?
Oh, shit.
Goodbye. Just go. Just leave.
Has Zenzabel ever cussed you out? I'm going to say yes.
Oh, yeah. She was always like that. I like a young Zenzi was also like a cussy person kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? There was always a little cussy.
And you?
Me?
At 2, Brutus?
No, never that. I was always demure and quiet and kind of like just following the role which I was assigned to play. That's how I roll. That's how I continue to roll. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I won't tell all your biz, Zen. I'm just saying a little bit about, just cussiness. You know what I'm saying?
But isn't that New Yorkers? Like, how can you isolate Zenzabel?
Exactly. So that is all New York, but then you gotta, there's levels and scales. So when I said that she was a cussy person, or could be, what is it like? Just go from cold to hot real fast, kind of thing. It's like, oh boy, that's one of those things. Like, oh boy, kind of things.
What's the most ubiquitous phrase uttered by New Yorkers? Is it "What the fuck is you looking at"?
That is not the most. No, it's the same.
I like fuck out of here.
I think get the fuck out of here, Mike. But that's more the Italian thing. But yo, what's up? You know what I mean? Like that's one of the what's up? Because that could be many different ways in which that's taken. Yes. That could be a fight. That could be a chat. That could be basically what the fuck you looking at. But that's all could be like yo, what's up? You know what I mean? So it's all about
into someone's well-being. What's up, man?
Yeah, it's all about the ways, the ways in which it's told. But that one for me comes across as like that's a classic New York, but it can mean a whole bunch of different things depending on how it's said. Whatever. That's
like when you say you good. It's like you good.
Yeah, you good. Yeah, it's all about how you say it.
They're proud.
If you add it, you good, my nigga. Then it could be, then you realize that that's not necessarily like, oh, you good. It's all about that. It's the phrasing. All right, I got some more news stories. You want to hit another news story?
I have a story, but I can't find the corresponding video, and I saw it. I want you to look for it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor from the Atlantic magazine, I saw a video where he is discussing the story. I'm sure you all have heard this, but this journalist was mistakenly added to the Signal chat, which included JD Vance, all these fucking fuckboys. JD Vance, Hegseth, who else was in this shit? Tulsi was in this shit. Little Marco was in the shit.
He was included.
These niggas Come out, these niggas threw the journalists on. Yeah, let's bring Jeffrey up in this bitch. Let's talk about these troop movements in Yemen.
Mhm.
How we about to strike the Houthis. So Jeffrey Goldberg, but I saw the video on TikTok and I thought I had favorited it, but it's Goldberg himself talking about how he literally thought he was being punked. He was like, I could have swore this was like a misinformation campaign someone was trying to bring me into. And he said, ain't no way that the vice president, Department of Defense Secretary, National Intelligence, the Secretary of State included me in a signal chat, which I think is very revelatory. But anyway, do you have it? You found it?
I'm looking for the video, and that was actually the story that I was going to bring up.
Oh, nice.
So I just put on screen. I'm looking for the video now.
I can't believe
There is a story that's coming up here. So I think this may be, and for people like, Jeffrey Goldberg is a scumbag. So let's be clear about that too. The reason why he was even potentially somebody who they decided to include, whether it was a mistake or not, is because he is a former IDF soldier.
Well, there you go.
And he is now the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic. But he is an overt Zionist, former IDF soldier. And so I think part of the reason why even the quote unquote mistake was made was because this guy fits the bill of who they are. And so he's not so much outraged. And the other amazing thing, like he's not outraged by the fact that they're indiscriminately bombing Yemen.
Mm-mm.
He's just outraged that they were stupid enough to do it on, again, unofficial channels, not a secure channel, not a Pentagon approved channel. But they use Signal. They use what we use. You know what I mean? Like this is the top level military apparatus using Signal as the means by which they are communicating war plans for the larger public. So I'm going to play this. I'm not sure, but I think this is him speaking out.
News interview since finding himself in that group chat is Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. Let me first say, I've known you a long time. You've been covering national security issues for a long time.
Longer than you've been alive, probably.
I don't know about that.
Well,
you're not 100,
No,
but
not
yes,
100.
for
All right,
quite a
not
long time. So I just tried to do justice to your story there, which as I noted, I read many times. You can see my highlight around.
No, you got the. I think you got the main themes of it. The unreality of it, I think, is something that's very hard to capture. I have a hard time explaining the unreality of it because, as you note, you've been on one side of that divide. I've been on the other. The national security world is a pretty serious world, and especially at the level below the principals, there are people who take their responsibilities extremely seriously and take security and safety and cybersecurity and digital security very, very seriously. And there are people, we both know of people who've gone to prison for mishandling sensitive information. And so, one of my problems, and I've been, asked this question a few times today, it's why did you have such a hard time believing this? And the answer is because it's unbelievable. I mean, I've never experienced this through, the pre 9/11 period, 9/11, Iraq, Afghanistan, and so on. These are life and death issues, and you don't just put out specific targeting information, specific timings of attacks that have not yet taken place into a commercial messaging app. And so I obviously convinced myself, as I state in the story, that this was a disinformation operation of some kind. Somebody, a state actor, non-state actor, I don't know who.
We're trying to entrap you.
We're trying to entrap me or fool me, or I couldn't figure out what the actual motive was. That was the one of the hard parts. But I wanted to understand, what was going on here.
So I can stop there.
So you kind of, so first of all, I had no idea who Goldberg was beyond his present title. I didn't know he was former IDF, but my suspicion was that whoever added him to the chat must have figured he was Mossad or somebody. Like I assume that they intended to add someone named Goldberg to the chat, right? Like it was just the wrong Goldberg. They just picked the wrong one in their contacts. But it was because obviously Israel is invested in these strikes on the Houthis, also themselves, probably helping coordinate these attacks on Yemen. So it would make sense that Israeli military or, whatever intelligence would be part of said conversation. But for the conversation to be taking place on Signal, I'm sure China was like, oh, this shit gonna be easy. China said this shit ain't gonna be as hard as we thought. These niggas is on Signal. Xi Jinping, get on that shit, man. They right on Signal. It should be easy.
Speaking, I mean, this fucking DEI hires. I mean, what the hell? Be like, they are not smart enough to use their own. And again, I'm sure that they have their own systems, obviously, of communication. So a Signal chat.
But obviously, the Trump administration is going about things very opaquely with intention, right? Because this probably has everything to do with them trying to avoid some sort of open records requirement, right? Like they don't want these chats or these discussions to ever be subpoenaed and reviewed and entered in as evidence for whatever. And I guess if you do it via Signal, that such evidence of conversations won't really exist.
Oh, you mean if they have disappearing message? Well, I mean, again, and the question is, are they even smart enough to do that? So, are they smart enough to even do that? I haven't read anything that is, maybe you have, that said that they did put disappearing messages on after a day or an hour or whatever. And this is being reported, I should also say, from this other story, obviously, as this tremendous failure of national intelligence to use it, and people are already calling for hearings, both Republicans and Democrats. And I just wanted to read this brief part where it said, this is from The Guardian, where it says, according to reporting in The Atlantic, the editor-in-chief, again, Jeffrey Goldberg, was accidentally invited to a Signal chat group with more than a dozen senior Trump officials, and again, including Vice President Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegsworth, and others. The reporting exposes not only a historic mishandling of national security information, but a potentially illegal communication chain in which sensitive military plans about airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen were casually shared in an encrypted chat with the automatic delete functions. It has made us look weak to ourselves, the California congressman said. And so the Democrats are going after, and some Republicans are going after them for this leak. Going back to the original thing, I have no idea whether or not they had the delete functions on at the time. But again, the highest level of the military and security apparatus and diplomacy departments did this. And again, I do think that the fact that it was Jeffrey Goldberg is not should be taken as, I'm sure he's getting national security information all the time in different ways, but he himself was so shocked at the level of details that was just casually being put forth on the commercial app Signal, timing of strikes, where strikes were going to happen, what type of strikes would be there. That I think he decided to use this as a reporting opportunity to put himself in the national news. But again, and I think even in his reporting, at least of what I've seen so far, again, he is a pro-Israel, pro-genocide reporter. So, there may have been a mistake made as to putting him in there. But again, I'm sure there's a lot of chats in which these folks probably do have conversations about what's going to happen. But I think it was the level of information that was shared that made this person actually respond.
And on some level, the sharing of this information on an unsecured messaging service like Signal, I don't know it for a fact, but I would imagine has to be criminal, right? Like, you're not supposed to do that if you have top level security clearance, top level government security clearance, like you are precluded from sharing sensitive information outside of secured or encrypted spaces. So I would imagine that this absolutely will rise to the level of criminality, though nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? That's the point. I mean, they may have some hearings and shit, but that's about as far as it's going to go. Hilarious. While Trump is threatening to impeach federal judges, nigga, look at your boys and girls. look at your cabinet out here sloppy as fuck.
And being stupid and braggadocious. Because if the reporter didn't bring it up, they would continue to use this chat in those kind of ways.
I'm sure they just started a new one. Started a new chat. Hey guys, this joint's been compromised. I'm gonna send you guys the invite to the new chat.
These are, and some of it even makes me happy. It's like, this is the level of idiocy that is running the country right now. It's just that these frat boy like folks have access to fucking weapons of mass destruction that murder people and kill people. Like, that's the part of it that's not funny.
Yes.
Right. But the fact that it's that these are not your intellectual best, hard at work here, doing these things. These are people whose, they shouldn't even have these jobs. They shouldn't be in these positions. Even as a non-supportive empire, I feel bad for you. Like, I mean, you can't pick, you have a talent pool to fucking choose from, but people who go through years and decades of schooling in order to supposedly at least, get to the point of not making this type of mistake. They may make other mistakes. They may do other things, but this type of mistake just seems to be so junior high schoolish. It's like the type of people who don't have any training, who these people are likely to make and do, not only now, but surely in the future. And you're right. There will be no punishment whatsoever for these actions, because they're so, they'll just lie or say something else, or take their internal lickings, laugh it off over a drink, and keep bombing people.
Yeah. I think Trump was asked about it, and of course Trump, no, I didn't know anything about it. Yeah, nigga, we know you didn't know jack shit about it. You don't know fuck all about anything. But Trump is in a level of mental and cognitive decline that many aren't talking about. As much as obvious as it was for Joe Biden, I think Trump is right there. He's just not doddering all over the place, but he is giving lots of indicators that he too is sunsetting in his mental capacity, for whatever it was worth to begin with. But yeah, what was the other thing about that? It was something else I wanted to add, but now I forgot. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So quickly, unless you have any other story that you want to bring up, I'm going back to school, back to the colleges. What I didn't bring up last time in terms of talking about the students and them being hunted down and taken hostage by ICE and the U.S. government. Basically, we also have the schools like Columbia University, which are trying, in their estimation, to thread some sort of needle of being acquiescent to Donald Trump during this time period to keep their funding as they allow. And I put forth, I think, as not only do they allow, but they participate in the deportation of their students, the criminalization of their students, all in the interest of keeping their funding going, keeping their jobs going, keeping the university going.
Which is laughable, Kamal, because so this amount of funding that Trump is threatening to withhold from Columbia is like $400 million, but Columbia's endowment is where? I'm guessing in the billions, or also in the high hundreds of millions. So it's not like Columbia out here broke. Columbia ain't no, this ain't a shot to Bowie State, but I was just, we're not comparing, Bowie and Coppin and Howard, even for that matter, to what Columbia is sitting on. And they still sold out their students. And listen, if you have students, or you are a student in Columbia and you have more than 2 semesters left, you should consider leaving. Like, you should consider transferring. That university is not safe for you, especially if you are a non-white, and if you are someone who was against genocide. The campus at Columbia, and not to say that other university campuses are that much more safer, but Columbia is obviously not safe, right?
Yeah, like again, the school is trying to not say a lot. They're not doing much, if any, real negotiations with students around their disciplinary hearings. In fact, after Mahmoud was arrested, the Palestinian student, afterwards, Columbia released several more sanctions against students that it was fulfilling in terms of students who were involved in the protests. And so they have not taken the opportunity to say, we need to back off at this stage. We need to get things right in our house. We need to help support our students who should be in fear. And so with all the fake anti-Semitism talk, what's being ignored is that it is really the student protesters. It is the students who are who are from the Middle East or other places, actually, students from here, from the United States. It is the students who are protesters. They're the ones who are being attacked, not only for expressing their so-called First Amendment rights to free speech, but they are being attacked and threatened with criminal charges, deportations. In Colombia, as opposed to responding to the idea that this genocide is happening and to divest from Israel and to even make a statement. They can't even make a statement saying they don't support genocide. Instead, what they've done is capitulate completely to, like you said, Donald Trump's demands for $400 million.
Well, not just, but in addition to, I thought I read that the Columbia School that houses Middle East studies about Africa and Asia has been placed into receivership. Former attorney Franklin, can you explain to us what that means? Placed into receivership means what?
You know what? In this case, I really don't know what the hell that means. Because you're exactly right. Like, so part of the demands, I don't have them pulled up, but part of the demands were that the Black studies, the Middle Eastern studies, several other areas of studies were exactly right, put into receivership, which really just means that they're going to be watched and scrutinized for the materials that they put out. And again, this is not about anti-Semitism. Anything that tries to explain that Palestinians are the indigenous people of that land and have a right to self-determination and not to be colonized will be looked upon as anti-Semitic, and then will be a reason to try to disband that area of study, will be a reason to change the curriculum in that area of study. So basically, it is a watch list where they will be scrutinized completely by, I haven't heard exactly whom. Is it going to be a special committee that's set up? Is the federal government going to be a part of that committee in terms of the Trump administration? So, but they're going to be scrutinized for the politics, for even the idea of having a conversation around colonialism and the colonization of Palestine. So to speak the truth about how is it that Europeans who happen to practice the religion of Judaism are allowed to travel from their home countries, which discriminated against them, but not for them to travel from those countries and set up a country in another land, to scrutinize that as a colonization of a people's land, that in and of itself will be the rationale and reason for disbanding these areas of study, and then to call it anti-Semitic for even having the discussion, right? So I think that, in a general way, I think that's really what it means. But to say that it's in receivership somehow, I've never heard that term applied to sort of areas of studies or clubs or whatever in colleges, right? But basically, it's saying a mark is on your back. Say something pro-Palestinian. Say Palestinians should not be genocided. That Palestinians should not be indiscriminately murdered or killed is reason enough to have you obviously either deported, arrested, jailed, and to have a whole area of study taken out of practice. This is what Columbia is doing.
And it was reported that either last week or week before that Columbia journalism students were assembled and spoken to by, their academic the professors, the leaders, I ain't been in college in so goddamn long. Come on, what are the people who oversee the school? The deans and
The
stuff,
dean,
right?
mhm.
And they were warning the journalism students, basically, you need to watch what you put on your social media, because if you express supportive state, views and perspectives of Palestine and, even Hezbollah and the Houthis, the students were told explicitly that their faculty and administration cannot protect them. And that's such a chilling thing to say to journalism students, right? Like those that are learning the laws and practices of how to be members of the so-called free press in this country are being told you need to watch what you say, because obviously the press is no longer free. But in terms of the receivership aspect, I mean, isn't that kind of anti-Semitic? Because didn't Judaism come from the cradle of civilization? And if you're putting more scrutiny and examination on the school that houses those disciplines of thought, isn't that anti-Semitic? I mean, I'm being very, very
Yeah,
technical here,
I mean, you would think, but
I know that's not what they mean, but still, it wild times, and shame on Columbia. Like Columbia complying in advance, Columbia making no efforts to resist this or push back against this. It's a sad thing. In the same way that Elon Musk is being punished, hopefully by consumers and protesters alike, with Tesla stock, seemingly cratering rather. Columbia is a product, right? Like, and people that go there need to treat it as though it is a product that they can reject, they can return, they can cease to consume. And if you're a parent of a child that studies at Columbia, anything under a junior, you need to consider transferring. Take your money out of there.
And I was going to and so part of that story was also that 36 more cops were being brought on campus, particularly to target and look towards students who are protesting. So again, to arrest students, to potentially throw them out the school, to hand them over to ICE. We just don't know. So, and again, because Columbia seems to be constantly in communication with the Trump administration, as prior was in constant communication with the Biden administration. Because that's, remember, when these schools started going after all the campsites that were created to support Palestinians, it was done all within a matter of days, where it's almost like the word was put out that it is time to stop these encampments. So there is constant contact with both administrations at the time. And so the fact that Columbia is trying to be mealy-mouthed about what it is doing, right? They should, like you said, they should not be able to get away with this. This should be something, all the protests that are happening, particularly around the Columbia students, should be taking place right outside the walls, if not in the walls of Columbia, because Columbia should not be able to go on with business as usual, particularly during this time where it is allowing. And again, there's some indications Columbia is attempting to deny this, but there seems to be indications they're not only allowing, but participating in the arrest of their students to be hauled off into detention. And like you said, is that the school that you want to send your kids to? Some school which claims to have some hallowed ground around free speech, and around living through the Constitution, or whatever they like to say, that this school, it seems to be actively participating with the Biden administration, as its students are being picked off one by one, as it is sanctioning its students for standing up against genocide. This is what we've come to.
And what are other schools going to take away from Columbia's compliance, right? Is that going to encourage, the administrations of other universities who may have an active student body that is engaged in protest around the genocide? Like, are other schools going to start kowtowing in advance, complying in advance before even having to be told? Or are these schools going to stand up for their students and stand up for their academic autonomy?
Yeah, I think we already know, right? Because if one of the things that, when we come back, maybe we can talk about the law firm. I think Paul Weiss, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, is that what I sent you?
I'm not sure. I'll take a look at it.
No. I'm sorry. What I texted to you days ago, and then you replied back with the real news interviews.
Yes. I think it is. Yes. So when we come back, we could talk a little bit about, because the capitulation seems to be the order of the day from these big institutions who more than anything have the power to fight back based on their resources and their placement in society, are not fighting back. Not only are they not fighting back because a lot of them agree with the policies, but they're capitulating with the Trump administration and narrowing the scope for protest and so forth. And that's happening not only in these schools, but again, these larger institutions, these attorneys, these law offices, and we can talk a little bit more about that when we come back, when we take a break with the Ear Doctor.
For those who don't know, Kamal, could you explain what capitulating means?
Oh, shit.
Basically to give in to a demand without any fight back or any forethought of defending yourself, right? You capitulate to the demand.
To acquiesce.
To acquiesce.
I decided not to use that word because then he would want the definition of that.
It wasn't for me. It was for those who didn't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to help them out. All right, let's take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show. We need y'all to follow us. Follow us, the Remix Morning Show, right here on blkliberationmedia.org. That's right. Do that. Go to that website and donate to us, and also be a Patreon member and get your monthly rare things you won't see here. All right. So let's take you to a thing about Black Liberation Media. We got a bunch of dope shows. So with that said, let me put y'all on to a dope show that goes by the name of Darker Than Blue, and see what Jackie is talking about on her latest show. Let's go.
So federal law states that the department cannot be eliminated outside of congressional vote to do so. All right. Now, this doesn't seem like Trump, or this might seem like the fact that Trump issued this executive order, obviously in clear violation of law. It might seem like he doesn't know the law, but I don't think that's true. I think, as we've said before, that he knows the law full well. What he wants to do is force a change in the powers of the presidency. He wants to expand that power and severely restrict the alleged powers of the rest of the branches of government. But I really got to maintain at this point, if the other branches of government have any power, what the devil are they doing to stop the violation of the federal law that separates the powers and limits the powers of, okay. So federal law mandates that the Department of Education has to provide the critical functions mentioned earlier, the administration of federal student aid, including loans and grants, funding for special education, and for districts with high levels of student poverty. Now, the department would also continue civil rights enforcement, allegedly, I don't know how, with the one person answering the phone. So basically, Trump can't shut down the agency. Linda McMahon can't shut down the agency in violation of the legally mandated services the agencies have to continue to provide.
All right, there it is. So as you see, make sure y'all check out Darker Than Blue. She talks about conservatives and education and all that stuff. So last episode, make sure you check it out. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get back to our crew, the Remix Morning crew, that is. Make sure y'all come back tomorrow and check out Jackie. All right.
Who made that song again? Follow Me.
Ally Us. ALY/US.
And that was their only hit, I assume.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But they're huge, yeah.
We can be free.
Yeah, just sweating on the dance. Like, yeah.
But look at what you sweating to. You sweating to liberation. Follow me to a place where we can all be free. We must stop fighting.
That was like another song called I'm Gonna Sweat Until I'm Soaking Wet. That was another house song that they was talking about liberation and freedom and stuff like that. Yeah, they have some songs out there had you dancing and getting educated at the same time. So big up to them. All right, big up to Jersey, Chicago for that house music, and New York. All right, I'm done.
Cool.
Black
Let's
Liberation.
Go ahead,
we'll
Kamal.
do it.
Go,
You
give
want me
it
to do
to
it?
us. Go ahead,
Remix Morning Show, Black Liberation Media here with Downtown, Burn It Down, Kim Brown, the
Don't call me that.
original.
The lady, there's
I
a
like
lady with that
Downtown.
name, and
I know.
we respect to the goddess Julie Brown. You probably had a crush on Julie Brown, didn't
There's
you?
only one Brown up in the house. You know what I'm saying? Kim
Oh.
Brown. Burn it down, Kim Brown.
Hold on, but Julie Brown was a bit of a pioneer here. I don't want to take nothing away from Julie
What
Brown.
was she a pioneer for? Because didn't she have a baby with Eddie Murphy? Was that it? She certainly wasn't the first. So she wasn't a pioneer.
Now you just mixing up Black Brits. That was Scary Spice. Mel.
Oh, so what was Julie Brown? She was the DJ or the host of the show on MTV?
She was a VJ. In fact, I think she was the only Black woman VJ on MTV for a very, very long time. She probably was, I don't know if she was the first, but I know she was the only for a long time. Downtown Julie Brown.
Now I remember her. Yeah, but she looked like Scary Spice, didn't she? They were in the same light skinned, long haired Black girl.
Well, Scary Spice is a little bit more cinnamon tint. I think she's a little toasted, cinnamon toast crunch. You know what I'm saying? Julie Brown was yaller.
Yaller.
Enough of this colorism.
True indeed. I'm not down with it. For all us brown skin. For all us brown skin people, we're not down with that. All right. Y'all ready to move on to
probably how you got into law school, nigga.
Who? I didn't see no goddamn picture of me beforehand. What are you talking about? It was like
you going for an interview. They're saying,
no, you got to go no interview like that. It's all the documentation at that particular time was mailed out.
And well, I would also assume that you had not yet assumed your African name yet. So you was going by, your mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. So you was going by
I think you're correct. At that point, it was Carl. It was Carl. Yeah.
Oh, and Carl got great credit. Carl getting into law school. Carl can do a lot. Kamal,
I told you that my grad school, one of my grad school, Norman Finkelstein, was my grad school teacher at Brooklyn College, who introduced me to the writings of Chomsky and foreign policy and stuff like that. And I asked him to write me a letter, recommendation letter for law school, which he did. But he wrote in his letter, he's like, Kamal is what did he say? Kamal is a Black nationalist, which I am not. But he gets along with others. I was like, what, nigga? I was like, you can't write this shit into a goddamn. I was like, what are you writing here? I know you think this is some sort of compliment, but I was like, you need to dial that back a little bit. Put in there your Black nationalist and the damn law school thing, whatever like that.
Where they thought you was applying to University of Ghana? Where they thought
I know. I was like, what the hell is that? What is going on with you? What is going on with you? It's like, it was pre his first book. Maybe he's still working on his first book at the time, whatever. But anyway, yeah. But in spite of that, and I did use that recommendation, and I got into a couple of schools here.
Finkelstein, they give this nigga the blues. Yo, I seen a video. Oh my God, some Zionists ran up on him where he was speaking or outside someplace where he was speaking and threw a pager in his face and boom, boom. I'm like, God damn. These motherfuckers are psychotic.
Wow, that is crazy. I also saw the video where there's some woman, this keeps coming across the social media. There's some woman who, I don't even want to say what she calls herself. Black woman. She's kind of half dressed, and her politics are supposed to be left politics, but she's basically stalking people or running up on folks, I should say, when they're outside. And so she had on this long coat, with a bikini on, and she's running up and Norm, I know who you are, blah, 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 blah. And she just maybe a month ago, I saw some video where she chased some right wing idiot down the street, and she chased the dude. What's the guy from the Bronx? Thank you. Somebody named Crackhead Barney. I don't even know what the hell that is. Crackhead Barney. Yeah. She literally she chased the guy, I think he's Dominican. He is the Richie Torres. She chased him down the block with him like that. And that was hilarious. He actually played it smart and just kept walking or whatever like that. So, but anyway, that is her name, Crackhead Barney. Yeah,
Crackhead Barney.
yeah. I mean, she seems a little off, seeking obviously attention through these things, but it's like, yo, it's not even about what you're watching, it's what comes across your feed. This is like, goddamn, like what the hell is this? And then once it comes across your feed, then you're like, okay, I got to see what the hell this is. So yeah.
Have you ever been just out at the mall or at the fucking store and someone just said some sideways, like recognized you and said some like just off some sideways shit to you? Have you ever had that happen to you?
I've not had that happen. I've had people say sideways shit just because they sideways, but not because they recognize me for any potential political content.
Okay.
I've had people walk up to me, actually, particularly when Cop City was going strong and I was doing a lot more mainstream media, walk up to me and tell me like they like what I do, or you can tell people begin to recognize you in that moment or whatever like that. So I've had a couple of those occasions.
Oh, that's positive. I like to hear that.
Yeah, no, I've had like the and then it's funny how people do it because they go like, I've had people they kind of like, you know, come up to your side and be like, I like what it's like a secret kind of thing because they don't want it themselves. But I think of all the work that I've done politically speaking, it is through Black Liberation Media that people go like, I know you, or like, yo, you are on Black Liberation Media, that kind of thing. So even the folks that don't speak in the chat, we have a far and wide audience of folks who listen to us. And, you know, we look at our numbers, like over 100,000 people a month tune in to Black Liberation Media. So, you know, we may not be doing everything right, but we are getting a little bit of growing an audience of people who hear about us. Over 1 million people a year. We got to reach more people, got to turn them on to organizing. But over 100,000 folks a month tune in to Black Liberation Media in one of our programs. So.
Well, let's give them 10 more minutes of news then.
God damn. Okay, let me bring this story up. Let the producer produce, you know, as they say. So, Kim, I'm going to bring up the story. I'm going to do the New York Times story. So speaking on that same plane of like these big institutions, which are basically giving in and or agreeing with or capitulating to the Trump administration. So it says President Trump and the head of the law firm, Paul Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison, LLP, have reached a deal under which Mr. Trump will drop the executive order he leveled against the firm, Mr. Trump said on Thursday. In the deal, Trump said the firm agreed to do a series of commitments. Now get this, including to represent clients no matter their political affiliation and contribute $40 million in legal services to causes Mr. Trump has championed, including President Trump's task force to combat anti-Semitism and other mutually agreed projects. It is unclear how the money will be used to help the task force. The firm, Mr. Trump said, also agreed to conduct an audit to ensure its hiring practices are merit-based and will not adopt, use, or pursue any DEI policies. It said the deal materialized after the head of the firm, Brad Karp, went to the White House this week and had a face-to-face meeting with Mr. Trump to discuss a resolution. Members of the legal profession said in interviews that they were surprised by the deal, as it appears as if the firm, which is dominated by Democrats and has long prided itself for being at the forefront of the fight against the government for civil rights, was capitulating to Mr. Trump over an executive order that is likely illegal. So I can stop it there because it sounds like you read some stuff about this.
Kind of. So just to start out, like you said, the Paul Weiss law firm represented a lot of Democratic clients, but specifically as it pertained to Trump, had lawyers working, was it on his impeachment or working on the myriad of criminal cases that were filed against Trump under the Biden administration? And there were lawyers, you know, with security clearances, and when Trump regained power, threatened to revoke those clearances, make it so that lawyers who had ever worked for that law firm, I think, were not able to get government jobs. I mean, it was a lot of little things. And to your point, you know, in that executive order, these actions were likely, had they been challenged in court, would have been found to have been illegal. But hey, no need to go to court if you're just going to roll over and do what you're told. But for Trump to impose his will about how they implement their hiring practices.
Mhm.
And I think the video that I sent you, that I texted to you, was of a woman who had tendered her resignation. I don't know if she worked for the Weiss firm or she worked for a related firm who did similar kind of government work or that was in Trump's crosshairs. But her resignation letter, she had published it. It went viral. But in the video I sent you, she was talking about how integral, like I think the Weiss firm in particular was like really good at seeking out young Black talent, young legal talent, first year law students, second year law students, selecting them for internships and the other sort of programs that helped them get a foot in the door. And for them to roll back this without even being forced to, voluntarily rolling this back in order to appease to the pleasure of the president, she was so disgusted by it, she quit.
Mhm. And we should also remember, like, so the executive order was stripping them of their security clearance, which allowed them to represent, I believe, either people who are trying to contract with the government. And so the threat that was dangling over their head was a loss of millions of dollars in business. And again, they were singled out because, as you said, their participation in either lawsuits or other work that would detrimentally affect Trump either through criminal and or civil liability.
So real quick, Kamau, how does that work? Like, so the government or the Department of Justice, what they farm out some of this legal work, they contract other law firms to what, do research or file motions? Like, I'm not familiar with this relationship.
From my reading of it, it is that they were like folks who have business interests. Let's say, like even I'm not saying that this is the case, but even like a SpaceX, like who have lawyers that represent them, in order to see certain documents from the government, in order to negotiate contracts or other things, they need a special security clearance. And obviously, the government, probably has more contracts than any other entity in the country, if not the world, considering how big the U.S. government is. And so this is a huge business, a part of their business. So they have their civil rights division, or have this division and other divisions. Well, this is a money-making division. And so this division was singled out by Trump to say, you won't have security clearance, so which means that you can't represent these clients, and these clients will go to other law firms who already do have security clearance. But as you were stating, and as the article alludes to, the fact that these individual law firms would be targeted just because they took on other legal cases, which had an impact that I don't want to say targeted, but that impacted or had to do with Trump, that would completely be a lie, right? That would completely be sort of an illegal targeting of a law firm, and like you said, that would mean that they could and should go after and or challenge this executive order in court, and they have the resources to do it, right? They have all the resources they need to go after or to challenge Trump in court, because they are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, law firm in the country. And there's another law firm that is similarly targeted that is suing the Trump administration and or challenging the executive order. This particular law firm decided not to do it. They've been getting a lot of pushback because they have not done it by, like you said, like legal experts, academics, lawyers. But not only did they capitulate, but the ways in which they did, in which they've now decided to take on cases that Trump tells them he wants them to take on, and then again to stop their hiring practices, which may support the hiring of Black attorneys who would not otherwise get an opportunity to be in these firms. And again, not to say that I'm so pleased about them being in these firms, but this is about, about people and their livelihoods. Again, the rolling over and playing dead is disgusting on his face.
I'm hoping, though, I don't have any reason to think that this would be the case, but maybe the Weiss firm accepted these terms and will still hire and promote Black attorneys and attorneys of color, because merit-based, these people had the best credentials, best grades, best experience. Yeah, we still have Black attorneys on staff because it's a merit-based system. They were the best qualified. They weren't hired, whatever. And if they're providing $40 million worth of pro bono legal services for the Trump administration, maybe they just give them shitty representation and charge them high. charge them real high fees and then give them shitty service.
I wish that was the case, but who knows, right? But the fact that they would capitulate and say that they're going to do this work in the first place, as opposed to, again, challenging it. And again, their interpretation of what they agreed to was different than what obviously the White House put out. They're claiming a different interpretation, but they didn't spell out exactly. You know, they did one of those statements of like, we will always seek diverse hiring, blah, 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 blah. But that's not suggesting that you did not agree to stop any forward thinking practices, which say lawyers who would not otherwise get these jobs or even be thought about these jobs or would be excluded because of racism from these jobs will continue to be looked at for these positions. And again, the fact that he would basically, they're saying they will move a conservative agenda, right, by doing these pro bono cases that Trump is telling them that he wants them to do, and pinpoint and telling them take on these particular cases. They are agreeing to move a conservative agenda. Again, they're only Democrats, so it doesn't mean that they're not already, but they think of themselves as these liberal progressives, but they are openly saying they're going to move a conservative agenda as asked by the president. So it's just crazy that would be the way in which people would, that this law firm, again, with all the money in the world, would move when an illegal challenge is being put up against them because of their activities, which should be protected activities, business-wise and otherwise.
Isn't this one of the lessons of tyranny, that the people should not look to the institutions to stand up in the face of tyranny, because in fact the institutions will be the first to crumble.
Exactly.
They'll be the first to submit.
Mm-hmm. And I think, and I think that proves out during history, right? The institutions that either already think that way or will crumble because they want to continue making money. They want it to continue to be in the good graces. They don't want to be, so it's left to these, it's left to individuals, it's left to students, it's left to organizers, because these institutions are too busy like making money out of the capitalist orbit, and they don't care about pushing back. They'll just settle and say, hey, we're still making money, so everything is good, and then we'll represent the clients who get arrested, but we'll also represent the people who are doing the arresting. So,
We're in for a rough ride, everybody. It's just March. it's just the end of March at that. And well, at least a lot of, I was going to say at least have survived, but tragically there's people that have not survived this first several months of Trump. You know what I mean? So I don't even know what the victory is anymore, but I think survival needs to be a goal, you guys. And looking at what continues to happen in Gaza, like if you live another day, that is a win. You know what I'm saying? So do what you can to keep living.
Yeah.
Really quick before we go. So somebody said in the chat, what's wrong with being a black nationalist? Of course, I am a black nationalist. I've been one for like 35 years.
But not on his law school application in
so
89, in 90.
It's like, don't hire me. Don't hire me.
Yeah, I mean, don't let me into law school.
Under the first Bush administration, for fuck's sake. Oh, Lord.
That was my point of the story. Not that it was, of course, I'm a proud black nationalist.
All right. So anything, first of all, make sure y'all tune in Thursday as we classical breakdown music 101. We do ladies of hip hop, finishing out Women's History Month.
Hey, how come you ain't make us salt and pepper?
Huh? Because
you
there's so
can pick
many.
who you want to be.
So
I'll
many.
be salt or pepper.
It's
You
so
can be salt.
many. Well, there's so many other women. You gotta get them.
I would be.
You
what was the
definitely would
DJ's
be
name?
Spinderella.
I would be.
Oh,
Spinderella.
you'd be Spinderella, ear doctor?
I would be Spinderella. She's
Okay.
the darkest one. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, what show you got coming up there, Kim?
My show tonight, Burn It Down with Kim Brown, 7 p.m. this evening, esta noche. Please come hang out with me. Please and thank you.
And other than that, we know we got the conference coming up, so make sure y'all get y'all tickets. Get your tickets, everybody.
How's that registration coming, Kamal?
It's coming good. We have well over 100 people who have purchased and who are registered for the conference. We're going into high gear with 2 months left to go. So if y'all want to get your tickets now, you know, you please do. Like, so we need y'all to be there. This is going to be a huge point of discussion for those of us on the left, for Black nationalist forces, basically, to come together and to talk through the things that we think should be on our plate and what we should be working towards and how we need to be organizing for liberation for our people. So folks, please get those tickets. Come on out. Let's have this group discussion and ways to move us forward. So yeah.
All right, sounds good. And we will see y'all tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So make sure y'all come back for some more of the Remix Morning Show. And
yes, Lateef, register online. Sorry.
There you go. It's all good. Never be sorry, my brother. Never be sorry. All right. And we out of here till tomorrow. Cop that.